Good evening, Commanders, and welcome back to Algorab Radio. I am your host, Commander I Flip the Switch, and this is the show where you can find out all the things you need to know about Sidewinder Syndicate, Elite Dangerous, the Algorab system, and everything going on in between the stars. Remember, you can find this show in all the places that you find these here transmissions. Some folks used to call these podcasts back in the day. I like to consider this pre-recorded audio transmissions that I like to send out there to the ether. Sometimes they just stay in Algorab, other times they go a little bit further. It all depends on the bandwidth that our good station master here will allow me. I've been, well, for lack of a better word, kind of going back and forth as far as trying to figure out just how much bandwidth I can squeeze out of this old man, and let me tell you, it's an uphill battle. Things are not exactly tight around here in good old Forbes Terminal, but man, oh man, I'm telling you, this guy is a freaking stickler. It's like trying to squeeze blood from a stone. But regardless, as long as the people here in the old Algorab system can get what I'm putting down, that's all I really care about. But if it goes a little bit further, hey, more is the better. Now, we're going to get into topics for this particular episode. And the big one I want to start with is something that every Sidewinder out there needs to take heed of. Something that should really rustle your scales out there, boys and girls. And that being, someone has come up wanting to pick a fight with Sidewinder Syndicate. As I'm sure a lot of you know, we're expanding right now. Algorab, while nice and cozy, we call it our home. Well, there's more out there. There's other places that we could be, let's just say, putting down roots and, maybe spreading our influence in different places. Well, some folks apparently have not taken kindly to that idea and have decided they wanted to pick a fight with old Sidewinder Syndicate. Right now, as of recording this here transmission, the systems of Malgeny and Palin are currently where the hot spots are at, but I encourage all of you to keep your ear to the ground and pay attention to the updates put out by Commander Thea Gilly, because it could spread anywhere. Sidewinder's got its little tentacles and fingers in all kinds of places, and we're going to spread out real big, and we're going to be doing things in a big bad way. But some folks obviously have a bit of an issue with that, and you know what I say? I say, if someone's wanting to pick a fight with Sidewinder Syndicate, we will be more than happy to oblige. So, Commanders, what I'm asking you is this. I'm asking you to hop in your Corvettes. I'm asking you to hop in your Crusaders, your Crate Mark IIs, hell, even your Sidewinders themselves. Load them for bear and prepare for wars, boys, because the drums are thundering, and we are going to tell them from up high on the mountain that Sidewinder Syndicate is not just going to lay down and let someone stomp on all over us. That's not how we do things around here. So, next time you hop into Discord, I want you all to be reaching out, finding out who's having troubles and where. I want you all to wing up, and I want you to go in there guns a-blazing, alright? If the side of their ship don't say Sidewinder Syndicate, as far as I'm concerned, you can blow it straight to smithereens. Of course, might want to give them a chance at parlay, but at the same time, if someone's looking to pick a fight, like I said, we'll be more than happy to answer the call. Now, I hate to get y'all's fire up, but we gotta take a quick little break. We got a word from our sponsor, and when we come back, we got a pretty interesting story about some stuff going out in the Eagle Nebula, and I'll tell you what, it sounds like something straight out of a movie. We'll be right back.
Are you one of those commanders who likes to feel the rush of speed, who likes to live dangerously, to fly so fast through the rings of a planet that you can literally see the rocks pinging off your windscreen? At Gutamaya Insurance, we understand what it is to want that thrill, and we are willing to help you out, even if you want to fly without rebuy. So remember, Gutamaya Insurance. Your ship is replaceable, just like you.
With that being said, we are going to hop into a little bit of news in some spots outside the system. Now, we have our intrepid field reporters out there that are doing a little bit of work on the side for your good friend, I Flip the Switch. Now look, I'm a pretty talented guy. I like to think I'm well traveled, but I can't be in all places at once. And things that impact other parts of the galaxy that, well, for lack of a better word, could impact us. Well, I like to keep my finger on the pulse, if you will. So this comes courtesy of Commander Rainbro, Commander Jacen Hajna, Commander Rebel Scum, and Commander HunterzKillerz. And, well, it's a little rough, boys. So currently in the Eagle Nebula, there is a prison colony that is, well, not doing so hot. So I am going to read the story put out here by our intrepid commanders. And I quote, "A remote high-security prison has today been engulfed in chaos following a large-scale prison riot. The prison is now under the control of its former inmates. This report is brought to you by Galnot News, broadcasting from a hijacked comms beacon as the mainstream media blackout continues." I love these guys. Located 7,000 light-years from inhabited space is the Eagle Nebula. The prison's existence was not widely known prior to these events. Constructed within an asteroid ring, it appears to have been the site of a major mining operation using the prisoners as slave labor. Early reports indicate that the inmates originated from all three superpowers. It remains unclear who is ultimately responsible for the prison's founding or jurisdiction. Raises some pretty gnarly questions, but back to the story. Federal and Imperial authorities have each accused the other of operating the prison, and the Alliance has refused to comment at this stage. It is claimed that tensions had been rising within the prison for several months over various issues, including multiple welfare failures, stemming from overcrowding, unsafe working conditions in the mines, and even disturbing reports of wardens removing inmates from the main prison to be used as entertainment for the guards. This practice was supposedly used to dispose of undesirable inmates and to keep the others in line. Multiple lockdowns have also been imposed in recent months to little effect. Much of this information was gathered from messages being broadcast from the prison since its takeover. The inmates, led by Chief Weber, claimed to be political prisoners and freedom fighters, imprisoned far from inhabited space to silence them. Unsubstantiated allegations have been made by some inmates against these supposedly responsible, including public figures such as Shadow Vice President Isolde Rochester and Chancellor Anders Blaine. These claims are largely being dismissed by authorities as baseless tales inspired by the deceased terrorist Salome. An investigation is underway to identify those responsible for the security failure. Several anarchist groups have experienced surges in activity over recent months, leading to speculation that they may have participated in a joint effort to free imprisoned members. However, analysts have noted that a conventional extraction would be impossible due to the huge number of prisoners and the distances involved. There are also concerns that if the inmates gain full control of the prison, they may be able to use it as a base to launch an attack on the nearby Colonia connection base of Eagle's Landing. This would cause significant disruption by breaking the chain of support outposts between the core systems and Colonia, as well as the possibility of an escape to Colonia utilizing the transport infrastructure that it offers. The situation is unstable, and it remains to be seen what aid will arrive for either the guards or the inmates, both trapped for the time being within the facility. Now, I'm not really the tinfoil hat type of guy, but if I had to assume, if I had to maybe take a shot in the dark, a little bit of a guess, I'd have to say that for the most part, it sounds like what we got going on here at this prison facility might have something to do with those nasty, nasty conflicts that we got going on in our expansion systems. A lot of people coming out of here might not exactly be so much in the right state of mind, and let's be perfectly honest, not big fans of law and order. And while I like to believe that most of these inmates, once free, would like to just be free, that's not always a guarantee. So I'm starting to think that there might be something to this. Now, are they connected? Probably not. But I like to think that our intrepid reporters out there in the field have been doing some really good work and definitely opening up a space and filling a gap of information since the Galnet communication system has, for lack of a better word, run up dry. That, of course, is why your good friend I Flip the Switch is here. I'm trying to keep you all filled in, trying to keep you entertained, and, well, perfectly honest, I'm trying to give you a voice out there in the black, because if Galnet's not going to be giving us information, not be giving us the news, hell, not even giving us good radio, someone's got to do it, right? I think that our boys out there in the field definitely deserve a good pat on the back, and I will make sure to let them know that their work is appreciated by everybody out here in Sidewinder Syndicate. Now with that, we are going to take a little break, but when we come back, I'm going to share a little bit of a story because I've been getting some questions, and, well, I feel like it's time to maybe give some answers. We'll be right back.
This week on Rimlock 911.
Space knows we've all been there. You get interdicted by pirates on your latest mining run, or you accidentally hit thrust while inside the station. Next thing you know, blammo. Years spinning, and when you come to, your payload's gone, your ship's gone, and the only thing left is you, floating in the vastness of space. And you owe it all to Rimlock. I know they saved my life. They've probably saved yours too.
Remember, Commanders, fly safe, fly with Rimlock.
And we're back. So, here around Forbes Terminal, I've been getting some, well, for lack of a better word, some personal questions. And I don't mind, but a lot of people keep asking me, where did you come from? And it's kind of hard to explain that. I usually say something like from my room, or the bathroom, or, the canteen. I give them a little vague answer. But for the most part, I don't really dive too much into it. And to be perfectly honest, it's because, well, while it turned out pretty good, it didn't start out too great. I guess, where do we start? Early on in life, I came from Fafnir in the Jotun system, and, well, my family wasn't exactly too well off. Could be considered what you like to call a dirt farmer. Son of a dirt farmer, actually, but, my dad definitely let me play with the idea of possibly doing something bigger. So when it came down to the time for me to eventually inherit a dirt farm, I turned tail and ran so fast that it would probably make your head spin. I kind of went rogue. I caught the very first ship I could off-world and made it to a nearby station where I kind of bummed around for work for a little while until I got taken in by, well, we'll just call him Joe. Joe kind of became my surrogate in a way, and while the depth of our relationship could be considered shallow at best, he definitely took care of me. I was a dumb, young, stupid kid that had run away from home, and he probably could tell that, well, to be perfectly honest, I didn't want to go home. And so he gave me work. And when I worked, I got paid, and life became pretty good for a little while. Did that for a while, and then finally I scrapped some money together, and I might have twisted Joe's arm a little bit, and, well, I ended up getting my hands on a little Cobra Mark III that, while it was definitely probably past its shelf life, that ship was all mine, and it was nice. After that, I kind of cut ties with Joe in the occupational sense, and I joined the system militia, and did well with that for a while, putting down small fights and kind of policing the area. Gave me a reason to fly my ship every day, and, man, to be perfectly honest, the fact that I was getting paid to fly, it was nothing better, man. So did that for a long time, and things were pretty good. Built up a bit of a reputation there in the Jotun system, and then around 3253, shit hit the fan. That was the first time that we'd ever ran into Thargoids, and it got messy pretty fast. They just popped out of witch space out of nowhere, in the dozens. And we'd never seen anything like it before. Before the attack actually happened, we thought that it was just space junk, to be perfectly honest with you. Something that had got pulled into somebody's wake and, spit out the other side. But then the swarm happened, and, well, we fought pretty hard, and we fought the best that we could. But like I said, my Cobra wasn't exactly in the fighting shape for something like that. In fact, up until that point, nobody was in fighting shape for Thargoids. So it got nasty pretty fast, and, well, for lack of a better word, I got my ass handed to me. My ship got banged up pretty bad, and after that, I just got flung out in the black. As far as I know, most of the colonists on Fafnir, a lot of the rest of the system got kind of wiped out, and well, I drifted for a while. I had half decent life support, and well, I couldn't tell you how long I was drifting out there, but eventually I got found by a ship. I don't even remember what system it was. They dragged my pod in, and when I came to, I was on an exploration ship. Not exactly what you classify as a mega ship. It was more like someone's retrofitted Type 7, and we just were flying out and about. The ship's name was the Joy, which I thought was kind of a misleading name considering the fact that it seemed like nobody there was having any fun. And after a while, they just kind of kept me around, nursed me back up to health. I was pretty banged up. And after that, I just kind of started working around the ship. We spent a long time out there. It took us about 4 years to make the whole trip around. While doing that, we were charting systems and discovering stars, finding all kinds of cool stuff. Saw my very first binary system. That was pretty neat. Skirted a black hole one time, nearly tore the Joy apart. That was good times. But for the most part, they just kind of put me in charge of comms. We had small little worker ships that would go out and they would take different readings on different celestial bodies and different things like that, crystal clusters and stuff, make planetfall and, send us up readings and stuff like that. And so I ended up just kind of being the radio guy. And after a while, the job just kind of stuck. So I flipped the switch, comms worker extraordinaire. And I did that for that whole 4 years. It took me a long time to finally make it back to the bubble. But when I did, well, here I am. The ship had, oddly enough, originated in Algorab. In fact, in O'Leary Station, which I think is hilarious because O'Leary is actually kind of famous for putting special paint jobs on ships, like real flashy stuff. And the Joy looked like a tin can, like a busted up, beat up, really nasty tin can. So I always thought that was funny, the fact that the Joy was the ugliest thing that came out of O'Leary Station. But regardless, got back to Algorab, and I just kind of stuck around. They dropped me off at Forbes because they asked me where I wanted to go. I said what was the biggest station. They said Forbes. They lied. But they just kind of dumped me here. I'd made enough credits during the actual expedition. I kind of set myself up a little place and I started looking for work. Then, well, I talked to the old station master here and he asked me if I had any experience, and I told him that I worked with radio, and he gave me this station, oddly enough. It's really weird. The only thing this place didn't come with was the microphone, as a matter of fact, and I technically stole that from the Joy, so, I don't think they're really coming back for it, but just in case, I keep it in the drawer. That's kind of where I came from. That's how I ended up here. And that's why I ended up starting the show, because if it's one thing that I learned 4 years out exploring is that when people are just out there in the black and they're just out staring at space, at all the wonder of it, but still just kind of staring into the abyss, sometimes having a friendly, warm, maybe even familiar voice in your ear kind of helps. So that's why I started the show. And that's why I'm going to keep doing it, because for all you folks out there that are exploring the black or fighting the good fight for Sidewinder, maybe making them sweet, fat trade deals for all that sweet, sweet space cheddar, sometimes you just want a friendly voice. And that's what I'm here for. And that's what I'm going to do. I think with that, though, probably going to end this episode. So remember, quick reminder, all those fights that folks be picking out there in places like Malgeni, Palin, and it's going to be other ones in the future, I promise you that. Don't shy away, but also don't be afraid to call on some of your squadron mates, because no one will wing up faster than a Sidewinder, and we will come in guns blazing. I want to thank you all very much for listening. Have an awesome time out there. Fly Dangerous 07 out.